Hi and welcome to Bitches of Horror.
Hi.
And today we have a special guest.
Yes, a female director and SFX maker, Nicole Solomon.
Yes. We had the chance to watch her brilliant short movie,
Small Talk.
Yes, so good. If you have a chance to watch that, watch that. So we sent her a few questions and we asked her to talk about her films and, tell us a little bit about more about herself. And
Yeah,
stuff like
very
that.
interesting.
Yeah, so nice. Such a lovely girl. Oof.
Want to see more from her.
Yeah, definitely want to see more from her.
So check her out.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Nicole Solomon, and this is Bitches of Horror. I'm here today to talk about my short film, Small Talk. Thank you so much, Sarah and Jasmine, for having me on your show, and thank you for sending me such great questions. Where did you get the idea for your short film, Small Talk? What drove you to make a movie about phone sex operators? Well, funny story. I myself was a phone sex operator for over 8 years and have not seen phone sex operators depicted in a very realistic way in film before. And I was in the process of writing some autobiographical material about my time working in that profession, and found myself much more interested in some of the more gory metaphorical images that were coming into my head that addressed some of the psychological themes that I was trying to write about. What is your favorite type of horror, and have you integrated it in Small Talk? I think my favorite types of horror are kind of psychological, slow burn, kind of meta-aware, somewhat comedic stuff like the original Scream and second Scream and Cabin in the Woods and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of. And just gore. I like grisly, cathartic, entertaining, beautiful gore. And I do think I integrated all three of those into Small Talk. I read in a previous interview that you made all the bad guys white men intentionally. Why did you choose to do this? Because I'm a racist misandrist. I'm a self-hating white person and I just hate men. No, but seriously, because I was basing this film off of real life power dynamics, and I was specifically interested in the ways that race, gender, sexuality, those things work together with the economic framework of the service industry, in this case in particular, the phone sex industry, which is part of both the broader sex industry and the broader service industry with those kinds of customers always right power dynamics. And for this story, it made sense that pieces of that power dynamic involved some of these men who are calling are white men. That's part of their psychological profile. That's an important part of each of these characters. In the case of most of the callers and otherwise troublesome men in the film, I did want them specifically to be white, heterosexually identified men who had money. It isn't just about them being white men, it's also very much about them being rich white men. As a female director, have you come across any negativity or problems? Yes. I am fortunate enough to be operating on a kind of micro indie level with a close cadre of like-minded filmmaker friends who are very feminist minded. I mean, of course, I've encountered some level of negativity on kind of like the microaggression level. If you're at a film festival or other film space and people will refer to directors using male pronouns, just in general, like, and the director when he a blah blah blah, and it's like, or assume that I'm not there as a director, things like that. Most of what I've encountered, interestingly, in terms of Small Talk, has to do with this thing where there seems to still be a real taboo against mixing explorations of sexuality and violence in ways that don't fit into these very normative mainstream cultural frameworks. Like, for instance, I think the fact that I did a film about the sex industry that isn't either like a story about an abject victim or some sort of like empowered, like everything's great, the sex industry is great character, but was just a realistic depiction where it's her job and aspects of it are good, aspects of it are bad. I was very much trying not to condemn phone sex or the sex industry. That's why I felt the need to include like a call that was just nice and silly, even though people were saying, cut that, you don't need it, you don't need it. I thought I did need it because I didn't want every single call to be horrible and traumatizing, because that's not how it really is. I had good calls too. I liked parts of my job. I did not like dealing with certain kinds of people. This weird thing happens where if you deal with those themes realistically, people think your film is a lot more graphic than it actually is. Like, Small Talk could be on TV, really. Like, there's a couple words that maybe couldn't be on network TV. There's some disturbing themes, but none of it's really that explicit. The most explicit stuff in Small Talk is the gore. It's not a sexually explicit film at all. But I've been selected for screenings and then been told my film couldn't screen because the theater would not allow it to be shown there because it was too verbally graphic, which of course I instantly put into my marketing materials, but I think is, if you watch the film, pretty misleading. It's not very verbally graphic at all, not compared to a lot of stuff that's on TV these days, but I guess people perceive it as being that because something about it disturbs them. And I'm saying this also based on other feedback I've gotten from some film festivals. I've been rejected from women's film festivals who have told me that they can't screen my film because it's so disturbing. And like, it's horror. It's supposed to be a bit disturbing. And there's a couple moments in Small Talk that still make me kind of a little bit. And that's good. It's supposed to, but it's not Martyrs or something, but something about the way I dealt with women's sexuality mixed with violence seems to have struck a nerve for people. And I do wonder if I would be getting the same reception if I was a man making a film about sex and violence, because it seems like Quentin Tarantino does stuff that's frankly a lot more graphic and disturbing than Small Talk, and it's a mainstream movie that plays in the mall. How did you manage to raise the money for Small Talk? I did a Kickstarter campaign and raised $15,000, and it was hard. And if you are ever going to do a crowdfunding campaign, please plan ahead, plan it out. It's going to be a part to full-time job for the course of the campaign. And unless you have wealthy friends or a established fan base, it's going to be a lot of work, and the kind of work that you probably aren't going to find fun. Then the rest of it I paid for on credit cards that I'm still kind of paying off, basically. So Kickstarter and debt is how I got the money for Small Talk. And that's what I have to say about Small Talk. It's going to be released on VOD on May 13th. That's Friday the 13th in May on the VHX platform via 4 Mile Circus. You can check 4 Mile Circus out at 4milecircus.com. You can check Small Talk out at smalltalkmovie.com. We're on social media all over the place. That's how I connected with Sarah and Jasmine, is on Twitter, where we're Small Talk Movie. We're on Tumblr, Small Talk Movie, Facebook, Small Talk Movie. We are not on Instagram, but I am on Instagram as Nicole Witte. That's NicoleWitte. You can connect with me there. Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on the show. I'm going to show you a little clip, and I hope you enjoy it. All right.
It's pointless. darkness, in the daylight, everybody lies.
I'm just making conversation.